All right, we're 2 months into 2026. New Dracula movie just dropped. I went to watch it. Let's talk about it. So in this iteration of Bram Stoker's Dracula, or they peddle it to be a successor to Bram Stoker's Dracula, they take the ruthless, cold, evil, black magic wielding Dracula and they turn him into pretty boy, sad, depressed Dracula lost his wife, tragic romance story. So vibe shift here with me, right? Reframe the mind. Dark, gothic Dracula, evil, not a good guy. Evil, everyone hates him. He sucks. He's super cold, manipulative, using dark magic. Not a great dude overall. Now, take that, swap him. He has a wife now. He's in love. He loses his wife. Tragic. 400 years depression period until he finds his reincarnated wife, and then he's going to try to get her back. That's the movie. It's a romance movie. I went in expecting a more darker gothic vibe like you'd normally expect in a vampire movie, especially with Dracula in it, just with a twist and a love story. But instead I just got a full-on romance, and sometimes like a romance comedy, which honestly felt kind of out of place at times, but we'll get there in a moment. So you got Caleb Landry Jones playing Dracula. Honestly, I feel like he really did look the part, so that was pretty great. And I don't think he did a bad job in the role that he was actually given at the end of the day, so cool, there you go, there's that. And then also you have Christopher Waltz. He is taking up the mantle of the Van Helsing-like character. He plays the priest. He's only known as the priest the entire time, so they don't actually name him Van Helsing, but you know that he works for this mysterious order who's been hunting down vampires for centuries, and he's hoping that he will be the priest to find the source of this vampire epidemic and then put a stop to it. So you have the good versus evil characters in this movie, and then you also have this underlying tone for the entire film of just straight up romance. And the take, it's not a bad take. I don't think there's anything wrong with making Dracula into kind of something different, switching up a little bit, and giving him a love interest, giving him a wife, and having this tragic story play out. My problem is that instead of it being keeping the dark tones and being this dramatic, sad, tragic love story with a Romeo, like Dracula with a Romeo and Juliet spin on it, I felt like they tried to put in too many things. Like they tried to add comedy throughout some of these scenes, like sprinkling little tidbits of it, and it comes at weird places. Like one scene standing out in particularly, like one of the vampire servants that Dracula has, she's trying to turn her husband into a vampire. The priest comes in, they see what's going on, and they go to like kill her, but the whole scene is just like the way they play it is funny, and there were people in the movie theater like laughing at it, so it feels like the comedy was kind of just misplaced in some of the scenes, so it just didn't make sense. So here you have a vampire themed love story with some comedy mixed out through it, and because of that, it didn't hit as hard for me as I think it would have if it was darker and kept a more serious tone throughout the film, but some people might enjoy that, so it is what it is. But for that reason, it didn't really hit as hard for me, and it kind of did pull me out of that movie a little bit. And also the CGI, not really great. It's super noticeable, especially like when you get they show these huge macro shots of Dracula's castle. It's supposed to be this like crazy looking castle on the side of a mountain and be super cool to look at, but it's like very clearly maybe like a more like lower budget CGI. And then also Dracula has these little gargoyle servant guys that are in his house that they cook for him, clean for him, whatever. They're his servants. And they came across to me as just these goofy little guys. They reminded me of the Seven Dwarfs from Snow White, and they looked the part too. Like they weren't scary and gritty looking like a normal gargoyle that you see on some old Catholic chapel. Like they looked kind of silly and funny, and really were some comedic relief in this movie. And again, sure, comedy's cool, rom-coms are great, but I went in expecting this dark, ruthless Dracula with a soft spot for his wife, almost like a Castlevania kind of Dracula is what I was expecting, like from the animated series, but that's not what I got, and it was just kind of like depressed sad boy Drac for 400 years trying to find his wife, and then random pieces of comedy mixed in. Also, the way they explain his powers in this film, there's not really any kind of black magic going on with his abilities. Like, sure, he's got quick reaction time and the normal, like, he's faster and stronger and he's immortal, but the whole, like, psychic powers that Dracula normally has, where he can pervert people and make them do things that he wants them to do, manipulating them, all those things, they just explained it. Basically, he goes and he makes a perfume that makes him super attracted to women. Boom. That's his power. Which, low-key, I thought that was kind of lame. I didn't love that. I thought it felt like whatever. They took like a whole 20 minutes explaining he's like, oh, I went to the ends of the earth to go find these pretty flowers and synthesize a perfume from it so that I could sort through women faster and then find my wife quicker. And it just felt silly, again, adding almost to that comedy lightheartedness that I guess they were trying to go for. So none of this movie really hit to me. I didn't necessarily dislike it. Like, I wasn't bored through the movie. I was still entertained, but I didn't love it, and it wasn't exactly what I was honestly hoping that the film would be, which was a gothic, gritty Dracula who had a wife and had a soft spot for her and then lost that love and goes on a journey to try and find her again. And, you know, hundreds of years later, I thought that was going to be just what it was, and I felt like that would be serious and keep the darker vibes, but they kind of just did away with that in the think tank, I guess, which, yeah, not my cup of tea. So for me, I'd give it like it gets like a 5 out of 10 for me. It didn't hit, but it wasn't trash. So, you know, and it's 2 hours long, so it felt like a really, really long movie. But yeah, sure, go see, if you want to go see it, I wouldn't steer you away from it. It wasn't like a trash movie, and honestly, some people love it, so some people have been raving about it, and I know that all the TikTok girls have been foaming at the mouth over this movie because of Dracula's hunger for his wife. To really sum that up, you know, the movie's supposed to have this, like, they're super in love, and they can't live without each other. They're just entwined souls, and they need each other, and it just came across as straight-up horniness, like, for every single interaction he has with his love interest in this movie. It was just straight up horniness and lust. So I didn't really get like a love, and that wasn't established super hard, but yeah, people have been foaming at the mouth for this movie because of that. And, you know, it just didn't go super hard in the paint for me. So yeah, 5 out of 10. See it if you want, but it's 2 hours long. And if you're going to see it, just understand it's not a dark, gritty Dracula. It's like a romantic comedy. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts, and I'm going to see you on the next one.